Secretary General of United Cities and Local Governments, moderator of the mayors and elected officials Roundtable.
Is it working now? Yes, wonderful. Thank you very much for introducing me. This is a very hard act to follow, Carlos, and it is not that simple. That video said it's simple, but it is not that simple. It's something very complex that we are trying to achieve here. Allow me to start by thanking my president, the mayor of The Hague, for joining us and showing the commitment of our World Organization with Proximity, for thanking UN Habitat for the continued partnership, and obviously the City of Paris. The City of Paris stands for many things in the world, but also as a champion of the municipal movement. United cities and local governments would not have this shape if the City of Paris would not have put all its strengths behind it. And Mayor Hidalgo has been a very big part of that. So we're very happy to be here to accompany this idea and to put proximity at the heart of our agenda. And I think with the partnership with the observatory, what we are showing is that things can be transformed, but that transformation needs to follow the demands, the needs of communities first. So that is the basic principle. And in order to do this, we have an amazing panel which is going to provide voices to different mayors from around the world, and I am going to call them to join me. So I would like to invite the governor of Kinshasa, Daniel Bumba, to join us in the panel. Please, sir, join us here. I would like to call Hanna Sarnowa, mayor of Łódź in Poland. Welcome, Hanna. Hugo Kerguelen, mayor of Montería in Colombia. Bienvenido. Seong, deputy mayor of Busan. Please do join us, Mayor. Christian Gabler, a senator from Berlin. Thank you for joining us, sir. Arkus Platz, also mayor of Plzeň in Poland. Welcome, sir. And Paolo Micheli, mayor of Sagrate in Italy. Well, as you can see, a very diverse realities, very different type of cities, all of them united with the idea, that proximity is more than managing a space. Proximity is about managing communities. It's actually our way of saying that we no longer accept what we have been accepting in the past, which is that time is of no value, or that time has a different value for different types of citizens. So it's a big statement, and it is a philosophical question that is put at the center of the governance of cities. And so we want to hear from you, from your different realities, how this is being handled and what it means for your citizens. And I would like to start with Hanna. Łódź is one of the biggest cities in Poland. You have been a mayor for quite a while. You have the privilege of having been elected for 10 years and a new term, indeed, exactly. So what does proximity mean for you, for your mandate, Hanna? Can you share with us?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to be here. Thanks to Carlos Moreno for inviting me and for the city of Paris to organize this extremely important conference. My speech will be a little different, I think, because I also want to speak about something very important for me, about the transformation, about the electricity, about the energy which we need like our lifeblood. So First of all, thank you for organizing this extremely important conference. Our world of local communities is getting global, as we see. We are here from different parts of the world and we discuss about this same topic. We, as local leaders, have more and more responsibility, and very often there is no time to proper discussion, rethinking our challenges and opportunities, because we have to operate in emergency mode. That's what is more, we have the problem with very limited budget. That is why we think that we need extraordinary, immediate and global solution. But this conference can prove that, especially in the field of climate, sustainability and resilience, simply innovative and local solutions are the best answer for current and future challenges. Thanks being close to our citizens and stakeholders, as well as providing urban services on a neighborhood basis, milk stronger business development and citizen safety and improve the quality of life. Today I speak not only as mayor of the city of Łódź, but also like a member of the Committee of the Regions. I am one of the members of Committee of the Regions in Brussels, and I am the rapporteur about the opinion on affordable energy plan. That is why it is very important for me. This energy, it's crucial for resilience and for our cities. It is our lifeblood, it is for our cities, our industries, and of course for our daily lives. There are some facts that shocked me. 47 million Europeans suffer from energy poverty. Our companies pay 2-3 times more for energy than companies in US or China. How can we ensure good living conditions for citizens in such conditions? How can we claim that our companies can compete with global players? How to support the local labor market? All these issues is very important for us because our citizens must have a good opportunity for work, for develop. In this moment, it is incredible, especially in Europe, we had a huge problem with this. And there is the question of resilience. In my opinion, it is one of the most important urban challenges of our time. Blackout in Spain, Portugal and France show that US energy systems are still not ready for today's challenges. That is crucial. In the end, it is up to local authorities to respond to this crisis. So it is our core business to make cities more resilient in this moment. Some words about my city, because we discuss about the cities. So I am Łódź, it is 90th century post-industrial city, which is central part of the city, had more than 10,000 buildings before the Second World War. Łódź did not suffer during the war. That protected the historical layout of the city, but for many, many years there is no investment in infrastructure. That is why condition of many buildings is real poor. City owns around 40,000 communal flats, from which only 2% are in buildings created after 1990. Many communal flats are in historic listed buildings. For the last 15 years, we managed to do a lot, but we are not even halfway here. We invest over 400 million euro, including over 110 million euro from EU funds. For the area of revitalization program, we managed to renovate 160 buildings, including more than 80 residential tenements with 1,200 flats. Being close to people has been my main value since I first time became the mayor 15 years ago. Crucial thing is citizen involvement, communication and cooperation with all stakeholders. We use different forms, walks, picnics, workshops, debates. We have a year-round program of meeting in dedicated part of the city. It's really visit neighborhood by neighborhood. Thanks to them, we are able to implement tailored, place-based solutions to respond to real needs of citizens. On this basic, for several years we also have been developing and implementing EcoPact, a type of local climate pact when we develop partnership with key actors, special businesses and citizens, of course. The aim is to cooperate for the green transformation of Łódź by sharing knowledge and resources. Citizens need to see the touchable effects of their involvement relatively quickly. It is more important. Participatory budget, which we implement on an annual basis, is one of the tools supporting urban proximity and citizen responsibility. We offer citizen subsidy programs, for example, for planting trees and flowers on their neighborhood. We learn citizens how to save electricity, heat and water. We are pulling Łódź rivers out of the underground channels and restoring them for residents and nature. We are also very active in the field of energy, and it is a game changer. I would like to mention 2 projects. We work on buy green energy using a public-private partnership model. We are the first city in Poland to use this mechanism. The electricity will come from a mix of wind and solar power. It will be provided on 1/3 of total energy of public infrastructure in Łódź needs each year. It will help Łódź not only save the money, but become more independent of the external energy suppliers. Last year, we started cooperation, for example, with Biology and Finnish company Energy in the field of geothermal energy. We will supply geothermal heat and to the municipal heating network. It will cover 50% of Łódź heating. I finished, but okay. Let me include with this. The concept of a 15-minute city is this approach that I consider a great tool for improving the quality of public space and building close responsibility cooperation with inhabitants. In terms of engineering societies, we have to meet the needs of our residents as close as possible to their place of residence, providing them with the greatest possible independence, safety, and good quality of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hanna, and thank you, Mayor, for putting a broader perspective into the proximity notion. Proximity is about many things. We've said it's not only about public space, it's about creating also a very direct relation with citizens. I'm looking at my colleague from the International Associations of Mayors, Francophone Mayors. We've been preaching this. We are the closest level of government to the citizens, and that is what marks the difference in the type of policies that you make. It's also impossible to sectoralize the discussions. Proximity is about everything, so I'm very grateful that you have brought energy and what it entails for the future vision of our proximity policies. And I would like to bring to the midst also what commoning means, the protection of the commons. It is not only about a space, but it is certainly about land, it is about the relation with the private sector, and it is about protecting the commons. So thank you for bringing this dimension to the discussion. We're going to remain in Europe. I'm going to give the floor to Christian Gebler, Senator for Urban Development, Building, Housing of the city of Berlin, another city that has been a very important champion for our movement, has been chairing our Metropolitan section for many years. You have been in different spheres of government, Senator. You've also played several roles at federal level. How does proximity look for you? How does neighborhood policies look right now in Berlin? How are you looking at the future?
Yes, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, at first a big thank to the city of Paris for arranging this conference, and we are twinning cities, Berlin and Paris, and so we work together on a lot of challenges we share, and I think Mayor Hidalgo is really, with her leadership and her action and effort to develop Paris to the more better and livable cities for its citizens, is really good for us to share views and ideas here on this conference. Proximity in practice is a matter of social justice, access to affordable housing and good everyday amenities. It is supported by retail, social infrastructure and cultural services, by efficient public transport and service-oriented administration. And proximity in practice means feeling at home also in the city of Berlin, since it continues to fascinate people from all corners of the globe. So in the past, in 10 years alone, Berlin has gained over 400,000 inhabitants, new residents, roughly the population of a city like Zurich. And in the last 3 years, 50,000 new apartments have been built in Berlin, 50,000, but we still need more. And we need really, like said before, a human quality with them. Proximity is crucial for livable quarters. Some of the city's main doors are at its current status at the nation's capital, as well as one in Europe's most thriving startup hubs, and strong academic scene and its reputation as a booming metropolis with livable neighborhoods. Berlin's Kieze. These Kieze, these neighborhoods, define the cities and the citizens, along with the values they embody. Berlin is a city of freedom and tolerance. Berlin is cosmopolitan, and Berlin embraces diversity. So citizens should feel at home in our city, and so we have to keep this structure and to strengthen it. Our task as the Senate Department of Urban Development, Building and Housing is to design and develop Berlin to overcome the challenges we face at present, many of which can be attributed to the city's growth. We are also responsible for laying the foundations for the future of the city and generations to come. Therefore, we are developing 24 new neighborhoods with about 62,000 new apartments, and more of 30% of them should be social housing. So also the social issue is one of our aims. I think one of Berlin's top strengths lies in the strategic planning. Strategic planning allows us to act now for a better future. We do this in line with the new Leipzig Charter. Our Senate Department develops strategic urban development plans for housing, for industry, for urban centers, and the climate, and they are contributing to a well-balanced, integrated, and community-oriented development. They hold the key to managing the growth of the city and with optimal utilization of existing infrastructure while protecting the landscape and open spaces. One of our main strategic planning pillars laid down in the land use plan is strengthening the polycentric nature of Berlin. We have an urban development plan for urban centers set out on the land use plan in concrete terms, and is currently being updated with this objective in mind. Berlin should ideally continue to be defined by its polycentric structure with attractive, livable and diverse neighborhood centers, but nevertheless, the strengthening of urban centers presents a particular challenge and present in view of the ongoing structural change in the retail sector, advancing digitalization, climate change, and the transport transition. The rising vacancy rate has led to an influx of personal services and gastronomy, all of which changes the way Berliners view their local urban centers. Things today aren't like they used to be. At the same time, vacancies can present opportunities for new users. We are committed to promoting these new opportunities and supporting new businesses in cooperation with the Berlin Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So, the new development plan supports the land planning of lively mixed-use new neighborhoods, and in order to achieve proximity, we require attractive urban centers designed to tackle the effects of climate change. Climate change adaptation is one of the most pressing tasks we are currently working on. With the view of achieving a sustainable and socially just future, I would like to emphasize that the city's urban centers form the basis for climate-friendly urban development. Berlin has the potential to save large amounts of carbon emissions if compactness and mixed use are achieved in the easily accessible catchment areas around rail-based public transport stops. This applies to both urban centers and residential areas. In conclusion, I would like to stress that we are actively investing in improving the neighborhoods and adapting existing properties to combat the effects of climate change. In accordance with the key principles of good urban governance set out in the New Leipzig Charter, we are spending an amount budget of around 120 million euros to improve residential, living and environmental conditions, to expand the diversity of use in urban centers, to create new places for people to meet and interact, and finally, to design sustainable green and open space for everyone to enjoy and thrive in. I think that's the future, the human future of cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you for bringing values to the discussion again. I think that is really important. In some of the false news that we have had to face in the past years when discussing about the 15-minute city was that this is only about walkable cities, about being against cars, and about trying to keep people in one part of the city, right? About cutting freedom. And in fact, what we're trying to do is all of the contrary, in fact. We are trying to make sure that everybody's time is as important, that you also have equality in your access to services. And your last point on the mixed use of neighborhoods is extremely important and something that we need to emphasize with the cities that we work with. It's not enough to make it walkable or a proper cycling environment. Is more than that. It's about the service provision that you organize. So thank you very much for bringing this, and thank you again, because Berlin has been calling the housing crisis for over a decade before people started to talk about that housing crisis. And I think it is very important to look at what we have been trying to do around housing and to explore housing linked with the proximity policies. We are going to change continent now. We are going to Africa, one of the greatest cities of Africa, the second biggest city to be concrete. We are very pleased to have Daniel Bumba, the governor of Kinshasa, with us. Governor, you have been elected in 2024, but you have been in public life for quite a while, and you have also a lot of experience in the private sector. Kinshasa has a lot of opportunities with a great youthful population, with a lot millions of people that depend on the services of Kinshasa, but obviously is facing also some of the common challenges that we are facing around the world. And your link of the proximity policy, the proximity approach, is also with the informal settlements, right? So what are your priorities right now in Kinshasa to work with neighborhoods and to transform towards sustainability with proximity at the center? Monsieur le Gouverneur, la parole est à vous. C'est un plaisir de vous avoir avec nous.
So you have the floor. It's a pleasure to have you here. Well, thank you very much. So I will be speaking in French. So it's not... We are not the first city in terms of population in Africa, but we are the biggest francophone city in the world. So there's about 20 million inhabitants in Kinshasa, and we have immense challenges. And so this concept is very much welcome. Our population is very dynamic. The majority of it is very young, so it's also very active. It's a buzzing city. But over the past decades, Kinshasa has been suffering from deficiencies, but for us, there are also opportunities. For example, just the bar population is an opportunity, and it really motivates public action. And it's a good way also to create like a growth momentum in the whole city. So proximity is a very welcome concept that comes at the right time, and we'd like to thank the city of Paris to work with us on this subject. And what we can see that this policy is now applying in the heart of Africa, in Kinshasa, in the RDC. So we are organizing everything around the proximity concept. We organize things in streets, in neighborhoods, in communes, and then there's the city that is the overarching administrative entity. So we have to admit that Kinshasa was not doing well in the past in terms of services. They actually collapsed. The proximity vision collapsed. But since our election, we have really been working on strengthening this proximity concept to improve the quality of life of residents. And so we are working with local leaders at street level, at communal level, municipal level, to create synergies within the program that we have set up to improve the quality of life. And so the challenges that we are facing are, well, first of all, the question of waste management, because the city generates 15 million tons of waste on a daily basis. So there's first the idea of waste collection. And so we are trying to reorganize the way we collect waste and when we process it. So now we are actually developing new waste collection systems and a transit system as well, to ensure that there's a good first primary collection of waste, so that the secondary treatment will be efficient as well. So because 60% of the waste come from households, and so the idea is to better structure the collection of household waste. And so this helps us also strengthen our proximity policy and to improve so the waste collection and to make the city cleaner and more salubrious. So as you know, also we are a big city, and many people commute every day. There's about 14 million people that are commuting every day. So it's a city that works on a pendular movement. So people leave the suburbs to go work in the city center. And then at night they go back to suburban areas. And that's why we have enormous traffic jams around Kinshasa. And so the idea is to create different development hubs. There's actually a very big project that is piloted by the President of the Republic himself, the President Kilombo, to ensure that there are several development hubs around the city, because there's too much promiscuity and everyone is working the same place, and we should organize the city differently so that we don't all go to the same place and from the same places. So Kinshasa is working on developing what we call multimodality. For example, we are very close by to a river, and we could use this river to actually move around. And so to facilitate mobility, to have a 13-minute or 15-minute mobility and to be a 15 or 30-minute city to access public services, we should develop different transport modes. This would also make the city more dynamic, to make it more pleasant to live in. And so mobility is really essential. There's also the question of energy, which is crucial as well. Because today in Kinshasa has an energy deficit of about 600 megawatts to serve the whole cities. So several projects are being implemented. So that energy is channeled to all the different neighborhoods, because energy is a vital source. So we are developing solar energy so that neighborhoods are better served. And this would actually help people feeling safer to move around and to access public services as well. So that's really like a there's a flagship project. Another flagship project as well is developing housing. So Kinshasa spreads out on 10,000 square kilometers, and 1/3 of it is not really developed or inhabited. And so this actually creates a need to reorganize the territory better. And so we are working with urban planners to close those gaps, and by building, for example, new neighborhoods, or what we call micro neighborhoods. Because this, and that's actually where the concept of proximity really comes at the right time, because we are developing a neighborhood with 20,000 housings, which will be an ecosystem where all services will be present. Administrative support, churches, education, so that citizens are at the really very close by to all services. They are in contact with those services, and that will create like a pleasant life where people are not stuck in traffic jams. So we believe that developing proximity is essential for Kinshasa, because we are actually almost out of air, I would say, because services are not really well distributed the way we would like, and it's almost unlivable for citizens. So that's why at the level of the communes, which is a smaller administrative entity in the city, we are working to ensure that we can develop public services that are close to residents. There's also a problem with roads. Obviously, in Kinshasa, we do not have enough roads, and again, that exacerbates the question of access and proximity. So today, we are also developing roads. We want to build 2,000 kilometers of roads in the city, which will facilitate the connections between different neighborhoods, different areas, and that will also improve proximity and access to services. So there's also a very strong proactive momentum from our program that we have very well defined. And so now if we manage to really improve roadways, we will have the interconnection that we want for our neighborhoods. So today we are really suffering from many ailings, I would say, but there's also many resources and many plans to facilitate proximity. And now if we talk about sanitation and waste, to come back to this, well, we have several interconnected projects to improve quality of life and to facilitate sustainable urban proximity, to help Kinshasa provide quality services to its citizens. So we develop our proximity policy with several projects that are around mobility through the development of roads. so as to reduce traffic jams. There's also the question of housing, which is not just social housing, but just housing generally, so that young people can access acceptable living conditions. This will also extend the city. City will be more sprawled out, but it will be more connected by internal road networks. So that means that people will have actually less distance to travel or to commute when they go to work. They will have to travel maybe less to go to a hospital, and that will actually improve quality of life in all those different spread out areas. So in our program, in our project, we've really aligned all factors to turn the city into a pleasant setting to improve urban life. So we're not just talking about public services, we're talking to access to basic services, but also to administrative services, which are very important to really create this level of proximity. And I can also see that the Kinshasa's reality is totally different from Berlin's reality or Łódź's priority, but still you meet the same challenges. And that's why our work is very interesting in the observatory, because we work with different realities, and yet the priorities are the same. And that's really our strength, actually. So thank you very much, Mr. Governor. And now we're going to another continent. We're going to South America with the mayor of Montería in Colombia. It's an intermediary, it's a middle-sized city, it's the department capital. It's surrounded by nature. There's also a river that runs through the city, which is called Sinu. So it's a city that is very well connected with nature. Its population is quite young and dynamic. You were elected in 2024, but you already had experience working within the town hall. So could you tell us what are your priorities? Well, first, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to thank Anne Hidalgo, the mayor of Paris, and also obviously Professor Carlos Moreno for the invitation. So the fact that Montería is invited here, which is just a middle-sized city in Colombia, the fact that we are invited in this type of international event is very important to us. Because to give you some context, our city has 525,000 inhabitants.
De esas 320,000 hectáreas, el 98% del territorio está en zona rural.
Which covers about 100 hectares, and it's mostly in a rural area. So there's only 2% of the territory that is in an urban area, and that's where most residents are. So we have also the Sinu, which is the river that runs through the city, and we can compare it to the Seine. It's as wide. But for us, this river is actually not a limit to the city, it's rather at the center of the city. We have two municipalities, as we call it, or 12 boroughs, which benefited from, we did not really have the good access to services. But by 15 years ago, there was some separatist movement from some of those boroughs on the left bank of the river, and they actually wanted to secede from the city, basically. But we started actually to work on this. So I was elected in 2024 as a mayor, but I was already, beforehand, I was already part of the municipal team before that. And we worked hard to provide services to all those communities that felt abandoned. So we developed new services and new tools so as to rebuild our city, to make it just a whole, to just have one city. So but we do not have many resources, to be honest, but we worked with, on something that is very important and that is also very specific to our country, which is to build on what has already been built. So, after the succession of all mayors that followed the same policies over the past 25 years, policies that actually were human-centered, well, then we worked so as to actually follow on what has been made, so as to not actually destroy the previous work, but to continue what was done in the past. So, as I was saying, we have a river, and we continued the work to preserve fauna and flora. There's some small microclimates that are very interesting all around the river. There's also restaurants along the banks of the river. There's sports facilities. And so families can go and have lunch there, for example, in those restaurants. But there's also green spaces, there's fauna, for example, there's iguanas or monkeys, for example, sloth, that you can actually observe in their natural environment. So how did we actually use this river? But also for transport, which was not the case in the past. So we actually continued to implement a project from the previous administration, which is a project that facilitates river transportation. So we built pontoons, and through this project, we can connect south to north axis on 4 kilometers. And there would be 15 stops all along the river, so as to serve 15 different areas with those 15 stops. So when I arrived in Paris, I could see there was like a right bank called bike rental system, which is very interesting. And in my city, we have a very big challenge. Like the heat sensation is always 44 degrees. It's always very hot, and this really limits the use of bikes. So we are actually, at the moment, we're building bike lanes, green lanes that are tree-lined, to reduce this thermal sensation and then to build bike lanes. I mean, there's already a few bike lanes in the city. There's already also stations where you can use public bikes. But the problem for the users when they move around is that they need to change their T-shirts 3 or 4 times because they sweat way too much because of the heat and humidity. So we are actually working on this, working on all those different challenges.
So we have more budget for this sustainable proximity, and so making an environmental corridor, which with the oxidation lake, where the wastewater of the city centre were processed, we created a water treatment plant close by, and that environmental corridor is going to become a social and economic asset of the town. town. And so what we are going to do is build a large-scale park in the city center, 30 hectares, is quite unprecedented. And that we're going to begin next year, but the project is going to go out for tenders very soon. And it's a unique park. It won't have any cement. The soils will be permeable. There will be sort of islands and paths, and that will mean that people, will be able to go through the trees and will be in full respect of wildlife. And that will actually provide accessibility for local residents so that they can have those access to those services. And so these lake parks will be a part of what we call our pier, our river banks. And that will foster connection and foster proximity. And that in turn will increase happiness, which is what we're all seeking. And so proximity, accessibility, and to all of these services will generate happiness. So again, thank you to each and every one of you for giving us the opportunity to share the experiences of our city with you, and we are very eager to hear your experiences because this is a very important event. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Hugo. Muchas gracias, alcalde.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences from your mid-sized town, because we have different agendas for different cities of different sizes. And, that connection between rural and urban areas and that emphasis on happiness. But please, Senator, you can leave.
So let us go to another part of the world, to the city of Busan. We have with us the Vice Mayor for Future Innovation of Future Metropolitan City, Seong. Busan, for us, working internationally, is synonym of innovation, synonym of relationship with the oceans. The Vice Mayor has a long career also advising in policy and a great background in government and linking science and governance. So we are very pleased to have you with us. I understand he will be speaking in Korean and we will have continued interpretation. Thank you for your patience. Vice Mayor, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Seong, Deputy Mayor of Busan City, and it's an honor to be here today in the city where the very idea of the 15-minute city was born and brought to life. For many of you, Busan may not be a familiar name. We are Korea's second largest city, located at the southeastern tip of the peninsula, home to 3.3 million residents, operating the sixth largest port in the world, surrounded by the ocean, rivers, and mountains. Busan is as economically vital as it is breathtakingly beautiful. But 100 years ago, in 1925, Busan was a modest fishing village of just 116 people. Fast forward to today, that number has grown nearly 30-fold, 3.3 million, from 116,000 people to 3.3 million. It's a population explosion. Fueled by colonial liberation in 1945, an influx of repatriates, an overwhelming wave of war refugees during the Korean War, and massive inflow of workers during the state-led industrialization, our population exploded. In 1955, Busan had 1 million residents. By 1972, 2 million. And just 7 years later, we hit 3 million. Imagine that an entire megacity added in just 7 years. The speed of this transformation was unpredictable. And too often, the happiness of citizens was pushed aside. Busan's urban planning also had to prioritize powerful external factors over the happiness of local citizens. I think our city is not merely a collection of roads, bridges, and industrial sites, and the cars and the buildings. I think our city is a living organism. Its future lies not in endless expansion, but in harmony with nature, in the restraint of human desire, and in building communities of care, inclusion, and mutual respect. I believe this is the essence of happiness we should pursue in the Busan-style 50-minute city. So we established 2021 dedicated organizations and launched citywide initiatives in green spaces, sports, lifelong learning, urban walkability, and carbon zero policies. And furthermore, starting next year, we are planning expand to include the private sectors, requiring that urban planning and urban renewal and public design project. Integrate 50-minute principles at every planning stage. We are not just redesigning a city, we are reimagining how to live. And tomorrow I have another opportunity to introduce Busan's 50-minute cities practice and achievements at Sorbonne University. If you have interest, please come to Sorbonne University. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. You surprised us with your excellent English. Thank you for that effort. The interpreter next to you made us believe that you would speak in Korean, but we are really grateful for your effort, and I am sure we will all be there tomorrow, right? Just to listen to tomorrow in Busan. Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing to this discussion the whole issue of happiness. This is not, this is not something that should make us smile as humans, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? To be happy, to be meaningful, to have a good quality of life, but also to live with people that have that quality of life, right? Is not only an individual objective. I think that what we are demonstrating here today is that it needs to be a collective objective. And when a collective objective arises, it needs to become public policy. And when you do public policy, then you need to reshape the means that you put behind that. So I think that this dialogue that you're bringing here today, bringing your own experiences on this matter, gives us a lot of inspiration for what the next step can be on proximity. What are the other things that we need to consider in the work of the observatory? So thank you very much for that. And since you are being all so good with time, I think we will have time for a quick round where you can maybe share with us very, very briefly what your priorities would be in international collaboration to promote the future of your city, to promote your agenda. So start thinking about that. So let me go now to the mayor of Plzew in Poland. I am sorry, Mayor, but I'm going to say your name wrong, and I know that. Okay. So it's Mayor Ptak, I hope, but he has a wonderful motto because he has been serving his city since 2018, but he has a long-standing experience also in the municipality, in other posts, and it is. The motto that the mayor, I understand, is trying to promote is a small city with a high quality of living, right? So we would be delighted to hear, Mayor, how you envision that. What does it imply? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I would like to present the perspective of a very, very, very small town. My town has only 70,000 inhabitants. Around the town live 13,000 people. Together we create a local community. I have been a mayor of Plzew since 2018 and deputy mayor since 2006. The town has an industrial and agricultural character with well-developed public services and trade sector. It is located about 90 kilometers from the regional region Poznań. Our main development goals, the main goal, apart from addressing climate protection, which is a serious problem for the city, was to 1. Improve the public image of Plzew, 2. Stop the outflow of residents, and 3. Create conditions to attract new ones. We adopted the idea that Plzew should be a small city with a high standard of living. Countrywide, surveys showed that only 30% of Polish people would like to live in a large city. The rest preferred the countryside or a small to medium-sized city. Our advantage, proximity. We tried to find things that differ Plzew from other local towns, and that things was proximity. The proximity to kindergarten, schools, the hospitals, the library, shops, etc. The city's natural layout and the close location of key public and private institutions provide a benefit over bigger cities. Thus, the adopted course of action in Plzew was similar to 15-minute city concept. Our main direction of public investment, first, urban mobility, a key change in the city focused on improving urban mobility, which included 1. Created integrated networks of bike paths, 2. Bicycle education, and 3. Developing public transport. However, construction of bike paths was challenging because of the city's urban and traffic layout. Another problem was residents and criticism from car users over the reduction of parking spaces. In a 2021 survey, 78% of respondents gave a positive evaluation of reconstruction of the path. An important aspect of the implementing urban mobility policy was the introduction of public transport in such a small town. In the beginning, introduction of small buses changed how people moved around the town. In the beginning, around 2000, used public transport services month. Now, it is 7,000 per month. Second, building a new green spaces. A significant part of the city's transformation started the realm of urban greenery. In the city center, several years old trees were planted. In 2023, a green master plan for the whole city was developed. Third, revitalization of railways areas. Nearly 3 hectares of former railway land have been designated for a library and culture center, transportation hub, bike path, and conference and hotel accommodation. This revitalization was awarded by the Polish Urban Society Best Public Space in Poland Award and was nominated for the European Prize for Urban Public Space in Barcelona, 2022. The revitalization of this area has been continuous to be one of the most important projects for the local government. It shows that a small city can create a space that gains fame from architects, urban planners, artists, and most importantly, the local community. For public housing, we are implementing our housing construction program for young people who live and work in pleasure. Thanks to this, they choose to stay in the town rather than move away. My conclusion for small towns. 1, take local and regional conditions into account. 2, look for something that sets you apart from other towns. 3, do not compete with big city. 4, a small town can be a great advantage. 5, what works well in a big city will not always work in a small town. 6, seek support from experts and researchers. 7, look for funding for projects outside your own budget. 9, travel a lot and learn from the best, but always verify. 9, avoid the mistakes of others, and most importantly, your team must be very, very good. Thank you.
Well, I love that pragmatism. Teams need to be very good, and you need to travel a lot. Yeah, it's the only way to learn. To be in contact with others, because also if you then want others to experience what you are doing, you need to be available to go and see. So thank you very much, Mayor. I also think for the future of our work in the observatory, I think it is important to bring the issue of the quality of the design, of beauty. Shape matters. And the successful examples that we have around the world on urban transformation are very tinted by how much they have been willing to invest in making the environment a nice environment that people identify with beyond the distance and beyond the public space. I'm thinking of cities like Bilbao, but there are many others, you know, where art and culture are put at the center. So thank you for that input. And now we're going back to Europe, to Segrate, Sindaco Paolo Micheli, un piacere averti con noi. Segrate doesn't have problems. I mean, it's a highly cultural city with great access to hospitals, to universities, close to Milan, high GDP. What is Segrate leading with?
As a great mayor.
Also.
Okay, I'm sorry, at this position I can't face everyone, but I say ciao to all of you. Okay. I'm sorry. Dear colleagues, it's an honor for me to share the experience of Segrate, a city of 37,000 inhabitants located right next to Milan. At the heart of one of Europe's most dynamic metropolitan areas. The theme of urban proximities is not an abstract concept for us, but I will say a daily necessity. We are a border city, connected to Milan, yet distant from it. Our challenge is twofold: to guarantee our citizens the quality of life of a city of proximity, while also embracing the opportunities of a global metropolis, of course. We have chosen 3 main lines of actions. The first is sustainable mobility. We are working to extend the Metro Line 4 to our city center, and this is not only a transport project, it's an instrument of proximity because it allows citizens to move quickly and cleanly, reducing traffic and pollution. Around this new infrastructure, we are redesigning neighborhoods, public spaces, and services. The second is environmental resilience. We have invested in energy communities, in solar power on public buildings, and revitalization of green areas, and in strengthening our network of streams and canals. Segrate is a city of water and parks. We are turning this identity into a resource for sustainability and climate adaptation. The third is social cohesion. For us, proximity also means services close to families, schools, civic centers, sports facilities spread across neighborhoods. We have introduced participatory budgets and forums for dialogue, because proximity is not only spatial, it's also democratic. It means reducing the distance between citizens and institutions. Two ambitious projects in Segrate capture these 3 important points very well. The first one is the Green Kilometer. I have the opportunity to present it at COP26 in Glasgow. A green infrastructure that will connect services and people through soft mobility and nature. The second is a Regeneration project. Is an European-funded initiative that brings together 9 cities across the continent to build more complete, resilient, and inclusive neighborhoods. Our belief is that even a medium-sized city like Segrate can be an European laboratory of proximity, because here the scale is human, but the challenges, as Carlos Moreno knows, are global. In conclusion, I believe that the future of our cities lies in this alliance between the large and the close, between metropolises and neighborhoods, infrastructures and relationship, resilience and inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sindago, and because you have been so efficient with your time and you have told us so many things in such a short time, I would like to start with you, maybe a quick reflection on what would be your priority to collaborate with others, with other mayors around the world. Where would you put your priority? And what would be your ask to the international community when working on proximity? I find it really incredible. I mean, as you can imagine, I work with mayors all the time. And this is one of the very few panels in my professional life where we have not talked about finance. Not really. I am really surprised. I mean, it might be the topic, it might be the philosophy that we put behind proximity, but maybe in this second round we have some thoughts. So, Mayor, some thoughts on the international community, your ask, and your national government is included in that international community. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry, I will be mayor only for 1 year, but I think the most important project that we are trying to grow is the Green Kilometer. Just said a few words before. I think it's an important project because we are depaving 3 kilometers of road that pass across our town, across Segrate. I think that we are a good benchmark, not only for Italy, but for other cities that want to try something new. The Green Kilometer will bring a new, of course, way of living also in town. And if I will have another opportunity, I will speak. I will tell you much better about this project.
We are all in so many Zooms, we have forgotten to applaud ourselves. It's not a machine that needs to applaud, it's actually you people that need to applaud. Thank you so much for letting our panelists feel how you are following their experiences. So now, that general question of what would be your priorities to work with other cities, with other mayors, and what would be the ask for the international community? You will have very little time. I'm thinking of 1 minute, 1.5 per speaker, and then I would like to see some hands here, to see comments from you, because we do still have some time before our keynote. So who would like to break the ice? Governor, I see you looking at me.
Fallait commencer par moi.
Of course, it had to be me first. Now, I come from an African city, so we need a lot of funding. Kinshasa is the El Dorado for investment. Now, why would I say that? Well, proximity can become a reality if we invest more in our cities. Now, this investment, as I said earlier, is an opportunity. A priority for me would be sanitation. A city has to be clean because we generate 15 tons of waste. But that's also an opportunity. There is potential there. Now, we have 3 million households today that don't have access to energy, but they are in contact with energy. So if we had the funding to transform waste, then that would be a real key starting point. And so if we were to have better access to energy, then we could sell more, and therefore we could develop more, because electricity is a very basic need. And that is a core part of proximity. So 3 million households can spend that money on electricity. So megawatts are needed there, and that is a really big investment opportunity. But I need to go over a minute because our needs are so vast. Just quickly, a few words about mobility. So Kinshasa has a lot of potential in terms of multimodality because we have river, roads. 14 million people commute every day. If they could spend just $1 per day, that would mean 14 million a day. So that is a good business case. So there's a lot of potential for generating profit there because we all want to make resilient cities. So investment, both public and private, can help us move forward in that. Just a few words about housing. I talked about a project of 20,000 flats, and Kinshasa can buy. So what we are doing is try to subsidize housing. So investing in that, it has a very high return on investment. I could go on and on, but Kinshasa is an El Dorado for investment. And all of this will improve resilience and happiness. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. I do love this idea of circular economy for mid-sized cities, for proximity, for the future. Thank you for that and for that approach. So not just needs, but also opportunities. Hanna.
Yeah, let's go. You don't have a microphone anymore? Okay, there it is.
Thank you very much. The main problem for my city, when I look at the future, it is the demographic. It is difficult to say that we establish the city for the future, which we're not sure that somebody wants to live in these cities. When I became the mayor 15 years ago, this is the huge problem, because the city is totally damaged, and we start to renovate the city and invite the young generation once again to the city. It is the most big problem for me, and I don't say that I'm so happy here in this moment, but it's changed a lot during these 15 years. In this moment, we have quite different situation. We have an amazing project which compare the city of Łódź to our capital, the Warsaw. We are under construction, the fast train between Łódź and Warsaw, and we totally change our future about demographic, because a lot of young people wants to start to live in the city of Łódź, about quality of life. We do all the best special for families. We build special places to spend the time for the families. It is a special museums for the young generation. It is a huge amount, more library for people, which not like library. It is like a small center of connection, of culture, of innovation, of networking, and also it is in each of them it is a part for the young generation to connect with the elder, to speak with them, to exchange the views. This is the second. And we also invest a lot about the quality of life, about greenery. Now we are, I think, the most green city in Poland, and we invest to protect the greens, especially the trees, but we plant a lot of trees. We have the biggest forest I think, in Europe, in the center, in the heart of the city. It is more than 1,000 hectares in the city center. It is forest. We have a lot of wild animals about this, so we have also the problem. But we come to the nature, so we do all the best for the citizens to be happy. We come back to this very important word, happy. In this moment, I'm totally sure that our future is looking very perspective. About communication, about a society of the people which living, and the young generation come back to the city. And I think the money is not the problem. The problem with the discussion and communication with especially the young generation, but not only, to exchange the view between this generation, two generations, young and older.
Thank you very much, Hanna. Very important topic, demographics, and it's not only about who wants to live in the cities, because indeed many of our cities are losing demographics in this very part of the world, but it's also how the demographics are. In fact, we have an older generation. Youth
so
is
this totally different when in Kinshasa.
I was about to say that, but both things need special attention, and thank you for that hope that you are giving us. Hugo, desde la perspectiva de una ciudad intermedia.
So from the perspective of a mid-sized city in the Caribbean, what is the challenges? The main challenge at the moment is actually to review the urban planning project that was launched in 2021. And so we've decided to develop new expansion zones in the city that are protected. There's no big building projects there. We have a master plan and for development, for mobility, for other topics as well, which mean lots of funding. And obviously we do not have the same budget as a big city. But through international cooperation, we managed to get some international support and to invest to actually recruit some auditors to help us implement our policies. So the idea is to really organize the growth of the city, to plan over the long term. Our cities have grown in a very crazy way, which was not, there was no organization behind it. And so the idea is to actually offer public services of good quality now to the residents. And I think that this master plan to build or rebuild areas is something very good. And I think any international help, any international funding or support is welcome, obviously. And I'll give the floor to Busan's mayor.
I think the 15-minute city project is a very fundamental and important one. So it's really hard to solve just for one city or just several cities together. For example, the carbon neutrality is a big issue for all of us. The European countries making a lot of efforts to moving toward the carbon zero economy. Still, other countries in other continents are lacking in their efforts. The carbon neutrality issue is a very global, important, impending issue. So the cities should work together to solve that issue, and it is really important for all of us to move together in line with the 15-minute city project. So in this vein, putting the happiness of citizens is a really easy way to solve that issue, I think. So we have a lot to learn from Paris project. So just, we shouldn't stop watching. We should learn together. And from Paris, we will see a lot of things and we will work together. And it's a very nice opportunity for all of us, I think. Regardless size and regardless the history of each city, we should just work together to solve this issue. That is really important. Yeah, I'm a policymaker. However, we need more big conference there where the experts and leaders in a lot of parts should gather together, and we should share our insight dots together. That is the best way, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you make that kind of opportunity, and if other mayors make that kind of opportunity, we will participate actively.
Thank you very much. Count on that and come to our Congress in Tangier next year, where proximity will be at the heart of the agenda. Thank you very much for the commitment of Busan. Arcadius, you gave us very concrete tips. Do you have any more?
Poland has a big problem with demography. Pleszew have problem demography too. So how quality life is very, very important. So sport, have building new, and we, local government, building new apartment, we building new schools, and very, very new building paths.
Thank you very much. Very concrete issues, I think, around housing and providing issues around services of education, which are very critical, and they are a mandate not all over the world, but a very important mandate for most of the municipalities in the world. I have 5 minutes left. Is there any comment from the room or question that you would like to ask? And you would need to be brief, not give a speech, just address the issue. No? Are we okay? Okay, so then allow me to close this very, very interesting panel. Paolo, you want to say anything else? No, you're fine. Okay. Just making sure, because I went very fast there. You know, the international municipal movement is convinced that we are in a period of very deep transformation of the way that we understand quality of life, that we understand living together, that we understand international relations. We need to question almost everything. But we also need to cherish many of the values that we have been building together, our legacy as humanity. And we are convinced that if we want to work for people, for planet, and for sound government, we need to ensure that care is put at the center of service provision, and that local service provision occupies a different place in the international agenda and international policy. We are also convinced that women empowerment and participation of women in all of the spheres needs to have a greater role, and this is why we say feminism, which is not only for women, but for also men and boys alike, needs to be at the center of those policies. And finally, that our governance needs to be triggered by proximity. And by proximity in all its forms, proximity of contacts, proximity of service delivery. So please count on us to continue driving this agenda based on your needs, on your experiences, going to the international community to ask for not only additional resources, but also a broader vision of what the agenda entails. That will be the task of the observatory in the coming years, and we are very excited with our sister organizations like IMF and others to continue working and to put this in the center of the agenda of local multilateralism, the global agenda of municipalities. As I say, our upcoming Congress will be in Tangier in June, and proximity and the work of the observatory will be a very important driver. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, team, for giving me the floor to facilitate this wonderful panel. We don't stop here. We have a wonderful keynote. Very happy to hear from Jan Gell, the professor for urban design from Denmark, very, very soon. So coming up. Thank you all. Thank you, mayors.